Hey, welcome to the broadcast. This is Dr. Kesha, and I'm not gonna be I'm be hyped, but not in a way that you think. Normally, I'm a little bubbly and excited because I enjoy what I do, but coming to you live, coming to you by way of this recording, I don't feel bubbly and hype and excited. I feel sad. I feel sad for Sonya Massey's family. I feel sad for the Black community and how the Black community is often treated in comparison to other communities. I know that some folks believe that this has nothing to do with race, but you don't really hear many reports of these types of things happening. I'm talking about a statistical way, an increase in statistical way. You don't really hear that happening amongst other groups like you hear about it when it comes to Black folks. You don't. So we have to be honest about that. So though there be no racial slur or something like that, because oftentimes, we have to infer, because it's not as obvious as it could be. But I want to say in the treatment, in the language, in the lack of empathy, lack of patience, you'll see people being treated differently. And a part of that is a mentality. There's a mentality that the individuals have that's causing them to do the mistreatment. It's causing them to move in the way that they're moving and doing the things that they're doing. It's a mentality that's behind and underneath that. So that's pretty much, we're going to share what happened to our dear sister and talk a little bit about that because we want to continue to shed light on the situation. Now, I want you to look at the YouTube thumbnail there. All right. Again, this particular video is titled, Wow, another hashtag Sonya Massey executed by an Illinois sheriff deputy. Okay. It's he's a sheriff deputy. All right. And so he was the one doing the executing. Now, the sheriff deputy that did the executing, his name is Sean Greyson. I'm going to show him real quick. Let me remove this real quick so that you can see him, so that we all can see what's going on here. All right. So we see him there. Let me just blow that up just a little bit. Let me click on that just so that you can see him and his face. All right. Let's see. Now, Tariq Nasheed, shout out to him. He brings attention to the tattoo that's on his arm, and he says that that tattoo is a symbol of. It is associated. The symbol is associated to a neo-Nazi movement groups, white supremacist groups, and so that's a little telltale to in terms of his mindset. All right, in terms of his mindset racially. All right, his mindset racially, but that's who he is. He's looking clean cut, looked like he had a shower and things like that. And he's all, clean cut and everything. And I believe that was intentional. Because when you look at this picture, do you see him there? He has a beard. I believe he has, he looks like he has a mustache even, but he looks like he stands about 6'3", 6'4" in height. And he looks like that he's cornbread fed, as they say. I'm from the Midwest, so I can speak on it. I used to live in Illinois. I lived in Indiana, lived in Ohio. So I can say that, he's a big guy. All right. And then we look at our dear precious sister, Sonya. She's a petite woman, small in frame. To my understanding, there was no gun or anything like that, or any type of weaponry or knives or anything that would cause any type of harm to anyone coming into her residence. And also, to my understanding, she was the one who initiated the call. Obviously, she called 911 and they dispatched these two sheriff deputies, right? One being Sean and the other one is someone that's not named, all right, as of yet. And so we see them here having a conversation. The incident occurred on July the 6th. It was just a couple of days after the 4th of July. And then it also happened a little after 1:15 a.m. in the morning, all right, when she had called. Now there's a couple of things that are interesting about this whole thing, but I want to go ahead and show the clip. We'll stop, we'll chat about it, we'll talk about it, we'll respond to it. Because I really only had a chance to see bits and pieces and other people's commentary and things of that nature. But I think that people need to see just how brutal, people can be, especially when they abuse their authority. We've seen this time and time again, play out time and time again. We've seen this. It's the same nuance. But what's interesting is that the whole thing was captured on video cam. The cop that executed Sonya had his turned off. He didn't turn it on until after he did what he did. Then he turned it on. So he's aware it's their policy to have it on. His partner had his on the whole time. And I will say that if it wasn't for his partner having his on the whole time, anything was said, even though with the recording, stuff was, said, misinformation was conveyed, or they lied. Let's be honest, they lied. Okay, to the family, they lied to those that came on the scene. Okay, trying to come up with some type of scenario by which he had to do what he did, but he lied, and it's clear on the video that he wasn't telling the truth. Okay, and so we'll talk about where he is and what's happening as of today. With relation to him, being arrested and stuff in charge and what he's charged with in just a few moments. But I do want to go back to this. I want to go back to this just a few seconds. And it's sad to me that, even when it comes to his background, I believe it was said that, okay, let me get out of this. We don't want to do all of that. We just want to focus on, yeah. So even when it comes to like, again, there's different types of people that experience the same thing. You'll see the very similar things. In the beginning, it was calm, relatively calm. They were asking questions. They were very impatient with her. I think what came up in the beginning was her mental health, asking questions with regards to her mental health. And I think she responded to that. And so they came into her home. There was really no need for that. But they ended up coming. And I believe the one, which was Sean, the one that ultimately executed her, went into the home first. And I believe because he didn't have his camera on, remember? So we didn't see that part. It wasn't until his partner came in the home after him. It's almost as if he was chasing after him or trying to catch up, because it seemed like he was going to his car. He was leaving the premises because they came and they checked the outer part. I guess that she complained about, potential intruder or somebody outside. So that's what the 911 call was about. That's why they came out in the first place. She thought that someone was trying to break into her home or break into something that belonged to her. Okay. They called, they came, they looked outside. Okay. They looked outside, and then after looking outside, okay, that's when they knocked on the door so they can have a conversation with her. And it seemed like during that time, again, they were a little, lacking patience. They were relatively short because it took her a while for her to come to the door. Now, she did explain why it took so long for her to come to the door. She said she was getting dressed. So I don't know what time about, by which she called 911. It might have been an hour, might have been, because sometimes 911 don't respond right away. That's why they have the song 911 is a joke in your town. Okay. Okay. Shout out to Public Enemy. Okay. So they have 911 is for reasons a joke in your town, because in certain communities, 911 doesn't always respond, or, the respondents to the call, they don't always come right away. Okay. Could it took an hour, took a little bit longer. And so if she struggled with some type of mental illness, she probably even forgot that she called the police. You know what I'm saying? They knew coming to her home, and then this was after the fact, like towards the end of the video, somebody had mentioned the type. It was a type of code in number of the call that they were responding to. So they knew that they were responding to somebody but that had some type of mental illness. Okay. So there was absolutely seemed to be no grace for that either. There was no patience or anything for that. So let's go ahead and go to the video and let's check it out, and let's respond to the video. And I'll be sure to leave this reference. I believe this is Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. It's the CBS Chicago News. All right, so let's go for it.
Deputies arrived to Sonya Massey's house on July 6th after she reported a possible intruder. Body camera video shows them searching her property and taking special interest in a car with broken windows. They knock at least 5 times, and Massey comes to the door, mumbling something to Deputy Sean Greyson, who responds,
"Why would hurt you? You called us."
The conversation appears to be wrapping up about a minute later.
"Is there anything else I can do for you?"
Then deputies ask more about that car and wind up coming inside Massey's house for some questions. They notice the stove is on. Massey goes over to the pot of water, and things take a fatal turn.
Huh? Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
So let's pause for just a few moments. Again, what they're not showing is you're going to have to go to the actual video, because what they're not showing is the tone and kind of the conversation leading up to it. They seem to be extremely short. They were asking her questions like, "What is your name?" And she couldn't remember her last name. Now, mind you, when they responded to the call, they knew that, this individual they were coming to had some mental health issues, but they were not responding in a way that would be professional to someone that is struggling with their mental health. Okay. Maybe they weren't trained to deal with it. Most cops aren't. But that doesn't mean that you don't treat people with kindness and that you don't make space for those types of things, especially when you were aware on your way, the information that you received was enough to know that this is a person that struggles with that. Okay. So when they were asking her questions about the car that she made reference to, she couldn't remember. To my understanding, that is her car. She said, "That's not my car." Okay. All right. She couldn't remember her last name. They said, "You should know that." Like, again, the way, Sean in particularly, the one that executed her, the way that he's speaking to her, you know what I mean? Very insensitive, very forward, very aggressive, very, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, almost low key judgmental, no space or grace for whatever she got going on. No patience, no tolerance, nothing. Okay, nothing. You can hear it in his tone, right? But unfortunately, this video isn't really giving what it needs to give. You got to go somewhere else to get it, unfortunately. But the videos are out there. I'm just trying not to be flagged. Fair use, fair use, fair use, a million times fair use. Okay, I'm trying not to be flagged, but I really do want us to understand that this woman was shot down, gunned down, executed by this so-called sheriff deputy. Okay, this Springfield, Illinois is where she resided, and this is where the incident occurred, and it could have been avoided. All right, so let's listen into some more. Now, mind you, she sat down on her couch. Okay, you see the couch there. She sat down on her couch, and you'll find this again in the video when you find the video in its full form, the complete video. She sat down. She tried looking around. They said, "Show me your ID. If you don't know your last name, that'll be easier." She couldn't find it. Okay. Now there was something cooking on her stove, and I believe it was just water boiling. And so he told her to go to her stove to do something with it, turn it off or whatever. Right. That's why she was over there, because he told her to do that. And she was just simply listening and adhering. And so he made a comment about the boiling water, the smoke or whatever. And then she was like, asking him, they kind of went back and forth. And then she said she rebuked him in the name of Jesus. And then from there, it begins to escalate. All right. And then he is accusing her of almost like threatening him. It's almost as if he felt threatened by that, and also by the hot water. And again, she was there, not because she went to get the water to throw it on him. That's to me the narrative in which he was trying to create in that moment. Because remember, he didn't have his camera on, just his partner did. All right. And so he tried to make up stuff as if that was happening, but we believe our eyes and we believe what we see. So when we see her in that moment, as it begins to escalate, because she's over there and she made the comment, rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You see where his hand is at, right? Right on his gun. So he threatens to shoot her. As a matter of fact, he said, I'm going to shoot you in your face, before he shot her in the face. And ultimately, he shot her in the face and took her life. Okay. And tried to act as if she was trying to throw the water on him. No, she had mitts in her hand because the pot was so hot. She put the pot down and she said, I'm sorry. And then she stooped down, and then he begins to proceed to shoot her. All right. So let's see what we can see. I know they're not going to have that part because they played it on live television. It was breaking news, so I'm sure they didn't have that part. But let's listen to see what we can glean from this.
That's where I'll shoot you right in your face.
Deputy Greyson's body camera shows his vantage point as he raises his weapon. Massey places the pot down, puts her hands in the air, and ducks. Greyson shoots.
Okay, so there it says that she ducks and then he shoots. So no, she didn't throw the hot water on him like many people were proposing, like he was saying. And then many people are believing it to be true. And she also said in that moment that she was sorry. And again, this is a mentally ill person. And so she's realizing that he seems to be upset with her, or something's wrong. And she's apologizing. And she's shrinking. But instead of this man de-escalating the situation, he decides to escalate the situation and take her life. He decides to take her life. Now, let me find, you know what? They actually might reveal what his fate is, or thus far what his fate is. What's on his arms? These little bumps right here. All right, let's listen.
Puts her hands in the air and ducks. Greyson shoots.
That may have been a little unclear to see. So Massey said something about, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And the deputy said something about, you better not, I will shoot you in the face.
Okay, so again, she's confirming what I just said, which was he threatened to shoot her in the face before he shot her in the face. Okay, he didn't like what she said, which again, he has every right to feel away, but we still have to maintain our professionalism. And like I said, I've seen, the shows, remember the shows, the bad boy shows back in the day, where they would deal with drunk people, they would deal with high people, they would chase them all around the community, all kinds of crazy stuff that would happen. They would get cussed out, they would be hit by drunk women that just so happened to be of another persuasion, or a complexion for the protection. They would be hitting on the cops, cussing them out or whatever, not complying. You've never seen them be gunned down. You've never seen them be mistreated. You see them being the utmost professional as they possibly could be, dealing with these people either with mental health issues, or drunk, or somehow impaired by alcohol or drugs. But they have all the patience in the world because they have the complexion for the protection. But when it comes to us, the moment we don't stop, they want to shoot. When they're trying to run, instead of just getting the license plates number, they want to do a speed chase, harm people along the way. Then when they get to the person, they want to just gun them down, no questions asked. It's just crazy to me. I just, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. To me, there's just no justification. We say, oh, the Twainy. No, 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 no. It's the people you're hiring. This man has all kinds of red flags in his past. He has DUIs. He has, his license was suspended and all this. No, there has to be a standard at some point. There has to be a standard of who we hire. There has to be. Most police officers are not trained or exposed to information that takes them deep into the mental health processes. They're not. That's why they need other agencies to partner with them. If they get calls, especially calls that are coded and labeled to be mental health related, they need to send a social worker with them, or to have a social worker meet and be the individual to be the mediator between them and the police. The police can come to serve and in their function, their role, which is to protect and serve. She says there's a complaint, there's an intruder outside my home. Y'all go check it out. In the meanwhile, the social workers outside, I'm sorry, Miss Sonya, are you home? Then they're handling the mental health component. But again, at the end of the day, there are people that are in law enforcement that, even though they may not necessarily be trained to deal with people when it comes to mental health, they're still compassionate, they're kind, and they're still patient. They're still not going to escalate something like that. They're still going to try to follow the rules. So it's not necessarily, the whole police department needs more money and funding and no, we've been saying the same. We've been singing the same old song. Now we sound like broken records. No, that's not it. It's the hiring practices. It's the lack of accountability. That's what it is. Let's continue. Oh my gosh.
Just minutes ago, Massey's father, James Wilburn, talked about seeing the video of what happened.
I kind of feel like, Roxanne, it's a dream. I'm going to wake up, but I just don't know kind of what to say. I saw this happen in the George Floyd matter. I saw this happen in the Breonna Taylor matter. And I had to say to God, why me? Why my child?
That's heartbreaking. Because again, this situation could have been avoided. You don't even have to be trained in law enforcement to know. While looking at that, and again, if you watched all of it, every point that I'm making, you'll be able to see it for yourself. This is not the full video at all. This is edited and edited well. So you're not seeing the nuance. You're not hearing the conversation. He called her a B. They refused to. No, it was Sean that called it and said, "Don't. No point in getting." He refused to get the medical kit. The partner was trying to get the medical kit, and he told him not to. The partner at least wanted to try to save her. And he told, he said, it was a headshot. What's the point? This is what he said. Those are his words. He called her crazy. He was very dismissive. Okay. And he called her a bee. He called her a female dog. Okay. He said all of those things after the fact. This is heard on the camera. It's going to be hard to dispute this. If this man does not get no first degree murder, child, oh child, oh child. Oh, child, Springfield, Illinois better hold on to their boots. Because this is just as plain as plain can be. Plain. They better do right in them courts. Let justice be served. I think right now it is first degree. Right now it is first degree. And again, he said what he was going to do before he did it. I saw another person in LawTube in that realm. I was watching his take on this, and he said, "No, this was premeditated." He said because he said what he was going to do before he did it. Oftentimes, when we think about premeditated, We think about, oh, it's got to be planned months in advance or a week or something or whatever, maybe 48 to 24 hours. Nah, you can make a decision in that moment of what you're going to do to someone before you do it and then carry it out. It there's no time required or attached to something that it would be considered premeditated. He said what he was going to do and he did it. And there was no threat because she did not have the pot in her hand. She had mitts because she was picking up the pot and she put it down. And the only reason why she went to the stove in the first place was he told her to go cut it off before she burns the pot. Now, she said what she said, and she had reasons for saying what she said. Maybe it was some energy she was picking up, what we refer to some unclean spirits or something that she was picking up. You know what I'm saying? Something in working in him in that space, in that moment that she was calling out. But the man was already over it from the moment he came to the door. So you have to watch the whole video in order to see that. You will not be able to see that in this well-edited clip. You won't. But it saddens me because even the father came out. I don't know if they have it in this particular report, but in another report, the father says that they told him that either an intruder did it to her, and or they said they tried to make it as if it was self-induced, that she did it to herself. So again, you lied again. You lied to the officer when you said that she tried to come to you and throw the water. That didn't happen. It's just, you just got caught with your fingers, your hands in the cookie jar, and you can't backpedal your way out of this one.
Her father went on to say she did have some mental health issues and at one time sought help. The Illinois State Police investigated, and the Sangamon County State's Attorney's Office determined the shooting was not justified. Greyson was fired and is now in custody. He's charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. I'm Lauren Victor reporting live in the newsroom, CBS News Chicago.
Lauren.
So, yeah, so we heard all of that. Right, we heard all of that, and listen, yeah, and it goes back to, again, coming on a scene, acting as if you're so helpful when you're trying to find a moment, an opportunity to do harm to someone. I believe the intention was there from the moment he saw this vulnerable, petite woman. And by the way, one video, the gentleman that was reviewing this and adding commentary to his video, he said he called her older. She was 36 years old. So she was way younger than me. And by herself. But I believe she has 2 children, if I'm not mistaken. And her father, like, he spoke out about it. And he's going to continue to speak out concerning this. And it is sad to have to even be having this conversation yet again. You know, that's why something has to change. These people have to be held accountable when they make a decision to pull the trigger and take someone else's life for no justifiable reason. They have to feel that. They have to understand and overstand that that's not the way to go. Something has to be taken. If not their life, then guess what? Their pension has to be taken. You're going to pay for what you did. There has to be recompense. You lose your pension. You lose at least a portion because you owe these people, the lives that you've taken, you owe their families. Guess what? You're going to pay the costs. Your pension is going to be the first thing to be exhausted. Then after your pension is exhausted, okay, then that's when the insurance will kick in. But it won't be the insurance alone. You're going to also be sued and liable and held accountable for compensating the family for taking the lives of these innocent people. And then on top of that, okay, now we have the process, the criminal process. I'm glad that he's terminated. Yes, losing your job is a part of that. Yes, and not only losing your job for the moment, but you're not allowed to work in this space. In the law enforcement space, no, you can't be trusted to have a gun no more. No, You need a felony. You need to be a felon. You can't handle a gun anymore. No, no, no. You could never work in law enforcement again. Just like with educators. If educators were to abuse a child or something like that, or to, something was to happen on the job where they'll be accused of something, if they're found guilty, they could never work in an educational space again. Same with these people in law enforcement. You lose it. You lose everything. You can't even work in the field. In addition to you being found guilty. Guilty of what? Murder. If it was premeditated, first degree, second degree, whatever degree, they need to be found guilty. Okay. And guess what? The next step is they need to serve time. All right. They don't need to serve a year. They don't need to serve 2. If you took somebody else's life, a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, you need to serve life. You need your life is no more. Maybe for an option for parole, maybe 30 years down the line. But you need to life should be your portion. That should be set in stone for you. Okay. And then if you happen to be in a state where the death penalty is upheld, then if you take a life for life, death penalty. I'm all for it because I'm kind of over it at this point. Some type of something needs to be sent. Oh, legislation. Let's not forget about the legislation on top of what's going on locally. Guess what? The federal needs to double down. These people need to understand that this is not acceptable. That this will not be tolerated. They need to understand that. And the only way is if everybody gets on the same page. That's the only way this is going to happen. The only way. Let's look at a few other pics, and then we're going to bring this to an end. I don't want to drag this out. But she's a beautiful woman, and it's just sad to me. Let's look at some photos of her in memory of her. And then somebody said, the family said that she was told that she died by suicide. Ain't that something? Lied. See how he had the gun on his finger the whole time? He had the gun in his hand the whole time? See that? I'm talking about like when she went to the kitchen and when she made the statement, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That's when he put his hand on his gun. And that's her. A side profile of her. That's her graduating. And that's them pointing the gun towards her. And then that's Sean Greyson, the one that was charged for first degree murder. And it goes through his work history. Let me see if I can find that real quickly. Let me see if this is going to. All right, let me see if you see what I see. You do. All right. So it says the killing of Sonya Massey, the body cam. Okay, this is from Black Star News. And he plead not guilty, by the way. He plead not guilty. It's just the audacity. And then it says here, the video confirmed prosecutors' earlier account of the tense moment when Greyson yelled from across the counter at Massey to set down a pot of hot water and then threatened to shoot her in the face. Massey ducked, briefly rose, and Greyson fired his pistol at her. Yeah, so this is it. Sad and it's unfortunate. Yet another yet another hashtag. Yet another one. It's just sad. It's just very, very, very unfortunate. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I'm missing? By him having those symbols on his body indicating that he's connected to hate groups, why would you hire someone that, again, it's a hiring practice for me. It's the fact that we're willing to hire people with DUIs. It's the fact that we're willing to hire people whose license are suspended as a result of DUIs. Your work history is questionable. Within 4 years, you literally worked for like 6 places in 4 years, so there's no stability. I mean, you may have had 2 part-time jobs on the side, but why the short span of times in these work histories? Anytime you're looking at somebody's resume or work history, that brings upon questions. Who was the interviewer? Like, who selected him? Like, who hired him? Like, I got questions. You know, his background is questionable. That's a whole bunch of red flags. His work history is questionable. All these abrupt, short, stints of time at these jobs, which happen to be law enforcement, each and every one of them. I think maybe one of them was like something different, but for the most part, yeah. And maybe he had a couple jobs at the same time at one point. But again, all those things are questionable. All of them are questionable. And in his actual file, there are no complaints. And that's another thing. It's like good records are not being kept. There's a reason why you're moving around the way that you are. All of it isn't because of money. Not all of it. So it's like, I think good record keeping they have to make it mandatory. Like these, I don't know, these local, they only have a few people working. So it shouldn't be, it's not like you have a staff of 150 people or 50 people. Like you literally have a few people. I think within this office that he worked for, I think it's less than 10 people. So you can keep a good file if there's a complaint made by citizens or whatever. And all of the other departments, departments that he's worked for, other areas that he's worked for. That's why those types of things are important, so that when something like this goes down, and I'm sure that other people may come forward to say, yeah, it was kind of like that. Yeah, you did some stuff that was suspect. Yeah, he moved in a way that was not appropriate. But yet you don't have any disciplinary notes or docs, or you don't have complaints in the file or nothing. Yeah, this is exposing. It's not training. These people are just unwilling. Either you don't have certain things in place properly, or these people are just not willing to do the right thing. And I think I'm leaning more on the people not wanting to do the right thing. That's what I'm leaning more, because too much money has been put into these agencies for them not to have certain types of training. And I will say this is the last thing that I'm going to say. Number one, my thoughts and prayers for the family. I hate all the digital hugs and stuff like that, and prayers on timelines. But my sincere thoughts and prayers for this family, like sincerely. And I feel like if the department makes a decision that this person acted inappropriately and did not follow the practical protocol and procedures for the moment, he did not respond well and appropriate. People in the comment section, be quiet. Sit down. Sit down. Don't you dare defend this. If the department that he works for says, this is not appropriate, this is not, no, he did not follow the proper protocol at all, then who are we to say anything to defend this man? I think on one website, they said that she threw hot water on him and he was protecting himself. Like he was self-defense. Like, get out of here. Get out of here. You know what? Y'all people, y'all don't understand that this is how it works. We are all going to be held accountable for the things that we do and the things that we say. And some of you all that go and blatantly lie and stuff and blatantly support these killers and all of these people that are evil, there's a special place for you in Hades, honey. A special place for you. You are enabling this type of behavior, and or you're in support of this type of behavior. Either way, there's a special place for you, for sure, in Hades. All right, gotta go. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna go in just as quiet as I came. I'm gonna go out rather just as quiet as I came in. You know, I don't feel like all the hype. But thank you so much for watching. I will say, if you can do me a huge favor, like the video, make a comment. What do you think? I'm so sick of this. I really am. Yeah, we're gonna be all right, but I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. Share if you feel inclined and subscribe to the channel. All right. Until next time. Gotta go. Bye.